Okay, there we go.
Okay, and now we do. Do we gotta clear these criticals?
Nope. Over there to the left. Go to the right of that. Go to the right, those three dots.
Yeah.
Click MES upgrade.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, what's interesting is if you're going to start with the hardware, you have to start with MES upgrade, but you could actually, if you only wanted to do something with software, you could go straight into it without clicking on that. So, do you know what to do now?
Do I select my
So, just so you know,
configure new system?
yeah, but before you do it,
Yeah.
so this actually gives you the last chance to actually just go through the different tabs on the left and then look at just how the system is configured. I don't do it anymore because I've already looked at it in ESS. I'm just letting you know that as soon as you hit configure as new sys, that option goes away. You cannot unconfigure new sys in this section. You'd have to quit out of it and come back in.
Right.
But yeah, configure as new sys is the way you're going to start the MES process.
Okay.
Or upgrade process. So this is just simply saying, do you need to use IBM temporary licensing, okay, which is additional temporary licensing for the transition point of your environment. So new Power 10 and 11, I think comes with 30-day license, temporary license. So that means once they start to install media in a box, you have 30 days for that license to be able to have support on both the old system and the new system. If you needed it to run longer, then you would need to get a 5733 ITL license, and you would get it for how many cores you want, how many processor cores you wanted, for how many licenses you needed. So say I needed it for 2 cores for 3 licenses, that would be quantity 6. And then if I needed it for 6 months, right, then I would need that, quantity for 6 months. And then there's a feature for if you need LPPs on there. So all that drives the cost. I typically say no here. I just wanted you to know what that is, and it'll only show up for IBMI.
Now,
And it could be added afterwards.
They're not real sticky on that, are they?
They can be.
Okay.
Don't ever put anything in writing to an IBMI customer that says you can get by with, with running the licenses longer than whatever. It will they will burn, because I've seen IBM actually send, bills to customers, several $100,000 saying, hey, you're out of compliance. You've been running that box, for a couple months. And yeah. So.
Okay. All right. And then I got to.
So now at this point, you're going to go to the very top up there, very top. You haven't picked the new box up there at the model.
Up here.
Yep, right there. And now you're going to pick the new box that you want to go to. So with what you're looking at here, I mean, this is probably, I would go with an S1122 would be my guess, my choice.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a 6-core box, right? So you've got a P10. You either go with a S1014, which is about ready to be withdrawn from marketing, or you go with an S1122. Okay, and then now you come down to primary OS.
Now, a question for you.
Yeah.
Your little math calculations and stuff, once the 1112 is here, would there, and now because they had storage and all that, would there be a possibility that we would say, hey, you could fit in a no because we don't want to drop their software tier?
It's possible that they could make a P10 offering over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just have certain requirements around it so you could have more memory and things like that. The one thing about the S1012 today is that because it is relatively IO limited, right? Only a certain number of hard drive slots and PCIe slots, it can only be so big. So it kind of fits naturally in that P5 space. But just like I showed you, I could have a need to be in a small P10. Right. And I do think they are making the 1112 I think they're going to make it bigger. In other words, make it have more capability. So
or maybe my thought process is we don't need as many cores on this box.
Yeah, and unfortunately you can't do anything about it. So what we'll do is we'll use factory deconfiguration and turn some of them off just to reduce cost on Power VM.
Okay.
But now down at the bottom, so right in the middle there, you'll pick primary OS and
Yep.
you'll pick one of your subscriptions. So it should scroll up to the top. Is it not there? There it is. I just always pick 7.6. There is a reason why you would want to choose 7.5 or 7.6 specifically. Like if you knew that's exactly what they wanted and you wanted it to come in pre-installed with that, then you would pick
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you want. But if you
Okay.
don't know, then just go with the latest.
Okay.
And now you scroll down and pick your. Now, my engineer right here, where you had your mouse at, 5,000, he would make me change that to risk migration. This comes again to how they want the box to come in prepared for manufacturing. So if the customer's got an existing box, you want to pick that. He will chastise me and then make fun of me in front of people, whether I'm drunk or sober. And and then because we went ahead and made this IBMI, you notice what it did was it actually pre-selected for us the two 4-core processors, but make it a
Now
zero.
what why are we picking risk to risk?
So that's risk to risk in this case says that we're going to do an IBMI to IBMI migration. So we're going to move the OS because IBMI used to years ago be CISC, and then they moved to risk. So they had this big CISC to risk. And that's just a legacy term that they carried over and they still use it, but we're essentially just migrating the IBMI OS environment from a risk server to a new risk server. So it's a little bit misleading. You're thinking maybe it's a hardware term when it's actually a software term.
But if we don't change that,
It's
does
not
it
the end of
cause
the
it?
world. No, no, no. It just
Okay.
causes a grumpy old IBMI guy who likes things, who likes his tea and his trumpets all set up in a certain way.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So change the 2 to 0, and I just want you to see what happens because just so you're like, I was with Brett and we were doing an S1122, but I don't see a 20 core processor. See that? Yeah, there you go. I just want you to see that it will show up. Give it a second. Yeah, I say give it a second. Give it a second. Come on, show up here. Um, okay, scroll back down. Still not there. Scroll back up real quick. Let me make sure to see what you picked. You did server. You did S1122. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. Scrolling down. Still not there. Okay. Move up to the other box. Just click on the other box. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Click over on system on the left or storage or something, then come back to products. Okay.
Requires. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. So go ahead and go ahead and put in 2 then. Select 2. I'll play with this JO, but it should have showed you the other processor options, which are the 2x10
Mm-hmm.
uh, and uh, and other stuff. So I'm not sure um, why it's not doing that. But this is where you wanted it to be anyway. Okay, so now you'll just start at system and start working your way down.
Okay.
You can see you got option for memory is going to be go to 128. So you could just do 2 of those. No, do 2 of the 64s.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Now, I say that. Listen, actually, the memory prices are different. One 128 could be cheaper than 2 of the 64s. I like 2 of the 64s because it fills more DIMM slots, but it's not a huge deal anymore. Memory bandwidth is not a huge deal. So, but it'll be interesting to know just if I just did this for that one deal I was talking about, and I changed from 6 of the 256 gig features to 12 of the 128, and it was $30,000 cheaper.
Whoa.
So, for the exact same capacity. So the memory does cost different based upon the feature. It'll probably be $100 difference for this size.
Do we do the active memory mirroring?
I like to do it. It does
Can
add a little
always
bit of
take it
cost to it.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, you can always take it off. You can talk about it. It's a RAS feature, right? It's going to mirror the power hypervisor in memory. They may take it off, but I like to start with it. And at that point, you're done. Now you go to storage. So 2 things here. If you're going to go with internal storage, then you got to make sure that at the bottom there your backplane is selected. On an S1122, I have 8 drive slots. So the first 4 would be managed by 1. If I need more than that, then I would put in 2. I think this is fine. And then I would add a DVD. We know that the 800 is not sufficient, so you could go with 4 3.2s. You could go with 2 6.4s. You could go with excuse me, go 2 6.4s, 4 3.2s. You could go with 8 1.6s. But in this case, since we just have one backplane of 4 drives, we'd go with that. Okay,
Okay.
and then that would give us then a usable 6.4 terabytes.
Okay.
It'll be mirrored. Now you got to remove the 2 that was there, the 800. That'll trip you up every time. Does to me, still gets me to this day. Okay, so then now you're ready to go to adapters. Now, when you go to adapters and you have IBMI selected, you can't pass go, right, until you do this. So you have to select now, am I going to use LAN console or am I going to use the HMC? So you're going to select LAN console. Then you go up to the up there above, and it says WSC console and select on all. And now you'll see your other adapters.
Okay. And then I forgot to pay attention to what they had. They got a tape drive.
They had a tape drive, so you'll need a SAS adapter. This is a 2U server, so it uses low profile. There's only should be one option for LP SAS adapter right there in the middle, EJ2C.
To
That's their
see.
full, yeah, there you go. So just choose
Okay.
one. And then if you remember, I made the comment they had one quad port Ethernet, which in this case happens to be at the very bottom. So scroll to the bottom. Now, sometimes what'll happen is, okay, so there you go. So sometimes what'll happen is just before you select that, go up to the top and select um, EC71. Select that real quick. There you go. It's selected. Now scroll
Okay.
back down to the bottom and let's see if that EN2Y is still there. Okay. Sometimes the EN2Y won't show up if the EC71 is selected.
Okay.
That could be me making that up, but I think that's the case. So in this case, you don't want EC71, you just want this. So go ahead and make that one and then make the EC71 a 0 if it didn't already because you just selected that
Oh,
one.
it went away. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
good. And then just always remember if you choose the EC71 or 72, depending on the server, you got to scroll down a little bit. Then you select the transceivers. They'll show up in that section there. They're not there because you didn't select it. But
Okay.
otherwise, that you don't typically do anything else in this section. If you're doing RAID adapters or something like that, then you might be selecting SAS cables in here. But we don't really do RAID adapters anymore. We don't need expansion on the left. We don't need power on the left. Although you do, for example, have an option under power. Let's say you needed 120 volt, but it will limit you on how many drive slots and drive capacities that you can have and a few things like that. So just keep that in mind. So go to codes. So over here, then we'll choose feature code 2319. So scroll down, it's right at the bottom. This is an 8 drive thing. I think we only need one, so make that 7. So we're just going to leave one active. Okay, then select premium. And the reason why premium is, I mean, we're talking there's $30, $40 difference between premium and standard.
Yeah.
And you know what? Just make it premium and just go with it. It's just always going to help your deal. Now,
Yep.
now you're going to see namespaces at the bottom. This will apply when you've chosen IBMI as a primary OS for the drives. And this essentially creates like a stripe on there. So I said it's parallel. So even if you created one big namespace, it still has high performance. But you can actually then carve this up. And if you had a 3.2 terabyte drive with a 400 gig namespace, then that would be like 8 stripes on a 3.2 terabyte drive, right? And it's changeable in the field. So it doesn't really matter what you make it here, but having it at 1 is good to go. If you're on an 800 gig drive, I would say choose the 200. Everything else, choose the 400.
Okay.
In this case, we don't need to mess with CSP LPAR or OS PCS. I would double check service packs and make sure that hard drive retention is turned off unless you want it. That's also where you're going to select IBM machine setup, and then you're going to go to expert care and choose what you want. Now, just so you know, you should select your expert care before you select hard drive retention, because whatever you select there, then it will change once you change expert care. You would think that if you selected hard drive retention, it would say, oh, I'll keep it and I'll just match it to whatever you change expert care to, but it doesn't. It'll actually drop it off. So once you've selected the term.
So is premium is a lot more expensive?
Premium, it's not, no, premium is actually the same cost. What they've done now is that they added a TAM cost in the software section. So depending on
Okay.
the tier, it may not be too much. What's nice about it is that you get a direct access dial code, but it also gives you a 30-minute response time for sub one. So if you've got a customer that is sensitive to sub one tickets because they're a day trader, financial or something like that, then it's worth it. But if you've got a small customer, it's a grocery store or something like that, they're probably not going to value that added cost. You're already going to hit them with things like active memory mirroring or whatever. Like, let's leave it on there just so we can see what it is, right? Because you can always come back in and change it. So you made that 3, then you go to service packs, and then if you would have selected hard drive retention, that same term is now will be available in there.
Now on the hard drive, that's just, what does that do?
So what this means is, for a customer that says, I have sensitive data on here and I, wouldn't want to take the chance that I send it back and somebody else could potentially read it, right? I mean, if you don't degauss it, sanitize it, do a data erasure on it, then you're kind of putting yourself out there, right? Like saying, oh, I'm going to take pictures that my wife and I took in our private spaces into CVS to have them printed and hope that the guy doesn't make copies. So in other words, your data is out there, and so by doing this, this says that when the CE comes out, he'll just let you keep the drive. It's your responsibility now to dispose of it.
I got you.
That's all that is. And in this case, it's just simply going to be used, in this case, for the OS drives. So I think it's an excellent feature on here, right? Now, if they're just for VIOS servers, I don't know. It's, there's not really sensitive data on a VIOS, but I put it on there and then always let them choose to take it off.
Okay.
So now you're good here. So at this point, you typically are ready to go to finish and then move into the software section.
Okay. And then we go to right click on software.
No, so you'll click on that little caret there to the left of the one. Come down. Yeah, there you go. Click on that caret. There you go. And then click on software products. And then when you come into here, now keep in mind, so here right away, when we look at this area in the gray area in the middle, move your mouse over there and just kind of scroll down in that gray area. So we're looking for, what I want you to notice is, well, first drop down 2 inches and go to that white line there and just type in BR2. So let's say you don't know for sure which group your product is in. Now hit search. And then if you know something about it, WDS, BR2, SS1, you're like, oh, I need an XLC compiler. You put that in there and it's telling you that this is in the system management category. And if you look up above, you see that's selected. Try ICC. Try ICC for IBM Cloud Connector. Let's see what it is. There you go. And it's in recovery and archiving. So go up to the gray area and scroll down until you see recovery and archiving. So see, you would not see it in the next section for no matter what you did, unless you came up here and then selected that. So now go over to the left and select on product selections, the second one down. There you go. And so now the products that we potentially want to add to our selections are here in the middle. But go ahead and go over there and go down to the bottom though, and then scroll down so we can see what you currently have selected. Go all the way to the bottom. of your screen. There you go. There you go. Now that's what I have. Okay, so now scroll up a little bit so I can see that middle gray box. There you go. Now in that middle gray box there, now scroll through until you see BR2. So scroll all the way to the top and then start your way at the top always and then come down. So you're looking for, like 5733. We might see ICC. We might see BR2. There's the ITL, by the way, the 5733 ITL.
Temporary license.
Yeah,
okay.
temporary license. There's RDW, that was Rational Developer for I. So there's ICC right there in the middle. Just saw it.
There's BR2.
Yep, so click it. Hit Add Products. Now, BR2 is licensed different than BR1. BR1 was licensed, you just had a binary 0 or 1, and then you added it to the box, and it was good for all VMs, all users. Here, it's tied to the number of OS licenses. Well, here you have one OS license, so it's fail-safe. But let's say you had two OS licenses, then your BR2 down below would be 2. So go down to the BR2 and double-click it.
Do I add this ICC?
You don't need to. I would just wanted you to be able to see how you would get it.
Okay. All right, now what do I do?
Double-click on the BR2.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we see what the quantity is. So again, if I had 2 OS licenses, if I had 3, 4, 5, whatever, I would change the quantity. Go over to product preference on the left side, and we're going to double check the software maintenance. What it should be happening is, so here you're good. So it did match the software term to expert care. That's what it should be doing. So hit OK. We need to double check all these because like the ones I just did for my customers, they were not matching. So you're going to get in, have a final config, and then not have accurate values. So scroll down all the way. But at this point, we're done with that area. That's all we care about is that. So now let's just start at the top. We already see TAM for AIX 3 years, so we're good with that. We see the Power Expert Care Premium Adder 3 years. Sometimes you have to go into those things like this, maybe Power HA, and add a 24/7 option. It might default to the 9/5, but I'm just letting you know that as a general statement.
Yeah.
DB1 is just an LPP that's going to transfer over. Rational Development Studio for I, go ahead and double click it. We're going to see 2 options here. We'll see the perpetual license there at the top. But let's say you wanted to go ahead and move to a subscription. It would be at the bottom. Now, where this is also going to come into play is if you're on a P20 or a P30 system and you sold either the standard edition or the enterprise edition bundle, especially the enterprise edition, because the enterprise edition bundle includes a WDS license. So you cannot mix perpetual with subscriptions. So even though you maybe had some perpetuals on there, you would have to now add new ones. You would have to add subscriptions on a P30 Enterprise Edition bundle. So at this point, I just wanted you to see this is where it's at. This is perpetual. This will transfer over at no cost. We don't need to check preferences because there is no software maintenance on the perpetual license. There is on the subscription. Go ahead and hit OK. And then scroll down to the bottom. Okay, now go to IBM I version 7. We should now at this point.
So we do the subscription to conversion or whatever.
Correct.
Okay.
And we're looking for 2 things in here, right? We're looking for the OS license and the users. You see it?
I see unlimited users and the OS. Okay, and processor.
See the word convert?
Yeah.
So go to that line and make it 1 and make the one above it a 0. If you didn't, then you'd be getting 2 licenses.
So I'm changing the convert to 1 and the one above it to 0?
Correct. You're saying go from a standard license and go to a conversion license. Now go to users and make the transfer and convert to 1. And then you'll go to the per user one, a quantity of 10, and make it 0.
So I'm doing the unlimited convert to 1.
Right.
And the unlimited.
Nope. The one above it. The one that's got a 10 in it. Got a 10.
Okay. Taking that to 0?
taking it to 0. Just one click. Moves in
Okay.
increments of 10. And then let's go over to IBMI preferences.
Okay.
We're going to check two things in preferences, and it's just a good habit to do. First thing we're going to check is the common preference. Double click on it. This is going to set up the software maintenance. So again, like earlier on the other one I was doing, I was having 5 years of maintenance, but these were defaulting to 3 years. So I want to make sure that these are accurate, and it's 24/7. So that's good. Hit OK. Then I'm going to go to IBMI subscription preferences at the bottom. And here I'm going to look for whether or not I'm going to get my media. I'm going to get a physical copy of the media or an electronic copy. Most IBMI shops want a hard copy. So change electronic software delivery. Up, 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 right there. Up.
Oh, up here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, to DVD. And that'll add a $417 charge. Hit OK. So that's what you want to look for. Now, AIX, I always make sure that's electronic media, like electronic delivery. But for
Okay.
IBMI, I want that to be physical media. So hit OK. And then we'll check Power VM at the bottom. Nope. Yep. Okay, Power VM. And go to Preferences. Looky there. See, your expert care is set to 3 years. You would have been underpriced on this one if you'd used this pricing. I'd call this a bug. It's, it just sets somebody up for failure, right? For conflict. And that's it. Hit OK. There is media that can come with Power VM. It would have been under that delivery option. If you wanted physical media, then that's where you would add it. If you ever see that, like, well, where's this $350 charge coming from? That's where you would change it to electronic delivery. So at this point, if we're good in the software section, you hit finish. And then you're going to start working through the critical messages. The ones up at the top up there, that's just telling you that you've got some LPPs that have expired. We can't do anything about them. They'll remain. They won't stop us from doing anything. It's really informational. But the ones down below that have the critical messages 7, we have to clear those. So let's start at the bottom I, for the red one in the critical. So just double click on the I, the little eyeball, just double click. Okay. Yeah. There you go. It's just saying, hey, you've selected expert care. I'm happy. Let's see what the next one is. You selected, you have a IBM service pack, or yeah, there you go. You have an IBM service pack for your client. Fine. Double click that eyeball. Okay, close. Next one says something about a service pack. Just double click it. Yep, close. The one that was below that, click that one, service pack, double click it. Now on the HMC one, this one requires us to go to the 3 dots. And on the 3 dots, since we already said that we don't need an HMC, you'll select do not need an HMC. You can do 3 things here, really. Don't need an HMC. I have an HMC already, or I need to configure it, and then it will bring up those panels to allow you to configure it at this point. You'll say don't need it. Let's see what's going on in this next one. This next one actually could be a fatal error. So double click the eyeball for this one. It says some features selected in this product do not satisfy certain rules. We've got something. We've got either like an added drive or something. Okay. 8 DIMMs. Looky here. So memory mirroring requires. So if you want to add the AMM, you need more DIMMs. So you'll want to go back in there and remove it. You've only got 4. So you don't want to double your memory costs. You'll go over there to the left, click on the 98, 24, 22A on the left, where you got the 1. Far left, there you go, double click on it, and then go into System, and then remove the AMM selection. Yep. So it would want you to have 8 of those instead of 4. Now you hit finished. That error will now be gone.
Interesting. So you have to have 8 DIMMs for the active memory. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're ready for final validation.
Yeah. And just to point out, you have to hit this final validation. You cannot hit the eyeball down there. You can't hit the check mark down there. You got to come up here and hit the blue validation in order to clear this last error. And then as soon as this passes, and I immediately go up and hit the save button. Now wait, hit cancel. Hit cancel. You could name it here, but I want you to go to the little caret on the save button up there and do a save as. Let's say you've already got one named and you're like, oh, I changed something or whatever. Add a name to it there where it says cart, That's where you want to put the customer name. So, is this BG Foods? And this is, so BG, whatever you would want to name it. Because I don't know if it'll accept a special character. You can try it. S1122.
Okay.
Nope, no, and then do space 3Y. Because you might, want to come in there and do a 5-year quote, right? So this is all going to help you when you come back in later and have to figure out which one did I do. I don't think you need to do that, but you do it however you want to do it, right?
Okay.
Oh, you did? Yeah, there you go. But anything like that is going to help you,
figure out which is which.
I'm telling you, down the road when you got a lot of these, it's helpful. You want to pull your hair out.
Okay. Any other to save it? Okay.
Yep, hit save. So I just wanted to point out that you can rename it there. Now, since this was the first time doing it on the save, it was going to let you name it the cart anyway, but I just wanted you to see. Also, up there in the left above the white, you'll see B&G Foods. You see the name up there in the black and the white letters? Click on the little pencil beside it.
Oh, yeah, up here. Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of times what I do is in my name, I put a serial number or something like that. But let's say you're like, oh, I want to copy that and I want to use it for the next one, or I want to add a serial number or something to it. You can add that in here and then you'd hit the checkbox. And I think it's persistent when you hit save. Okay. Yeah. I'm not certain, but I just want you to know you can access that title and make changes here.
Okay.
Then you just hit the checkbox or the red X. One says save it, and the other one says don't save the changes.
All right.
Okay. So now at that point, let's say you were happy with this, okay, and now I normally go to propose then, and I'm just looking at it in the propose section there in the middle, messages proposed diagram, right? But I also now at this point I'm going to export it because I'm going to, want to save a copy to my local system, and then I use the CSV file for my quotes because I copy them out of the CSV format because it's easier to do it out of there. I read the text files, but I copy stuff for quotes out of the CSV file. Now, when you do this, I just want to point out, let's go ahead and set this up. Hit export. Now, you want to select here CFR, text, CSV, and RTF. That means these are the file formats that it'll save in. There could be a reason why you want HTML and XML, and you might get them from other people. It's just because they've selected them all. In the 20 years that I've been doing this, I have used the XML 20 times, and can't think of any time I ever used the HTML. They're just unnecessary files to have to contend with. I would actually argue I only need CFR, text, and CSV, but some people do like RTF. So anyway, don't hit it yet. I also then like to download the files, and they'll come down to my system as an individual file. If you don't want to do that, you can do a single zip file, but then you got to mess with the zip file, right?
Right.
I don't like that. So for me, this is good to go. And by default, this will remember your last selection. So let's say for some reason you're like, why aren't I getting my text files anymore? Well, maybe you came in here the last time and somebody said, oh, I only need an XML file. So you came into here and said, oh, let me save it as an XML, and you forgot to change it back. Well, the next time you go to export it, it'll only have the XML option in there. That's it. So now you can go to your downloads and obviously see them there, but you've got everything ready to go. And if you need to make changes, you go over there to the left, make your changes. You can go into software. You can add stuff. Let's say you want to add a tape. Go to the blue box there. It says add product. Or you want to add an HMC. Okay, if you want to add an HMC, click on the caret for hardware. Then you see HMC console there, right? And you add it. Let's say you wanted to add a tape drive. Click on the caret for peripherals.
Where's the peripherals?
Up.
Oh, up here, yeah.
Click on storage. Click on current. Click on tape drive. In this case, a TS2290. And there you go. Now you pick the one you want, say a TS2290 LT09. So that tape drive, and you configure it just like you did the other one. And then when you're done, it would you'd bring you back to that home screen, and you would now have this LTO9 TS2290 and an HMC all listed as sub items underneath your server. Same with a rack if you added a rack and things like that.
Nice. We have to. So we go to options for the tape here. Yeah, cleaning cartridge, 5-pack, maybe MI. Do we have to do one of these SAS?
So I typically do what you did there at the top for the media. I typically say attach to something, and it will auto. So yeah, I would go ahead and add in this case. Now, if I'm doing an S1012, I'll use the S1012 shelf for this, but otherwise I would do a rack shelf kit with PDU line cord, and then the one up above it. That's just rack device.
Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. And then cables will be over there on the left-hand side below options. And then you just need to, pick whatever length that you would want here. Typically, and think about it, stop 1.5 meters and you go, okay, how far is that? This is one of those things that you do want to kind of confirm to know where this is at. If this was a tower server sitting, on the floor and your tape drives on a rack, then you might want that 3-meter cable. But if this shelf is sitting right above the 2U server, then now you've got a 9-meter cable coiled up hanging off the back and only needs to go 6 inches. So you go with the 1.5-meter cable. So I'd go with the 1.5 meter. And then your shipping has to match whatever your master item, higher level item is. So change shipping to premium. Power will get auto selected in the US. Where this will be interesting is when you click on connections, and I'm talking ahead of where you're moving, so that's fine. So just as you catch up, go ahead and go back down there to, okay, notice right here. So you went ahead and came out. Notice you've got both the TS2260 and the TS2290. This is what I was going to point out to you. Go ahead and double click on the TS2290 at the bottom, down there at the bottom. Yeah, there you go. You could also delete it over there on the right. You could edit it, if you wanted to hit the edit button, but you could just double click on it. Over there on the left-hand side is connections. Hit connections. So this, because we didn't remove the TS2260 from the previous config, it's still sitting out there and it thinks it's out there. So it's going to look for a connection to a SAS adapter. It could give us an error on that. But that's okay. So I just want to make sure that we're saying this TS2290 connects to this 982422A server, and we see that it's got a 1 on here, and it's going to connect via a SAS cable. So that's good to go. Then implementation services, this may or may not be an option. Let's see if it gives us an option. There is none. And so by default, this would get added under machine setup support for the server, and then do service packs. And this is where you're going to select either 3 or 5 years. So you're selecting your WUSU. It comes with a warranty, but you're going to uplift it to 3-year. There you go. That you want to match your expert care. So now you're good to go. Okay. And you can just hang out up in that top right corner and hit finish. and we may need to deal with some couple of messages here. Yep, so it just says go check out SSIC and make sure you're good. So hit the eyeball. Okay, and now hit the final validation. Click on that X for that information box to move it out of the way, and then go over to proposed. Scroll down, and let's see what we've got here. We should see the existing server first, so we'll see the 9009, I think it was. First, there we go. Keep scrolling. There's the original TS2260. Then we'll come to the new proposed box right there. Keep right there. Okay, now we're at the bottom of this. We'll see not only the 2260, but we should see the new 2290. Now, both of those will connect to the same SAS adapter, but it doesn't mean that that SAS adapter, that SAS cable for the 2260 will connect to it. So just so you know, that would be one other thing that we would have to verify. At this point, we're not going to mess with it, but it could require two different connectors because the TS2260 could have had a bigger connector. And then we're going to, at this point, scroll all the way to the bottom. Let's look at our software. Let's see if we got everything. Did we get our 15 rational development? Did we get our just one Power VM? Did we get our conversion pricing for the OS license? And let's see what our unlimited user cost looks like. And then we should see BR2 on there, and everything should be for 5 years.
All right, so
I always want to just go all the way to the bottom, because you can't look here in the middle because it blends the existing with the new. We want to see what new orders are, and that's the cost.
Oh, this is removed. Okay.
Yeah, we go all the way to the bottom. Just go to the bottom and then you scroll up. Okay, good. So now we'll see right there. We see the one of the TAMs, but there's no cost yet. We see the PVE
Expert
for
care.
one. We see there's your premium expert care adder. That's for the TAM. So that's the extra money they're going to pay for that, right? It's expensive. Now, what TLS is supposed to be working on something that says, let's say we had multiple boxes like my customer did, and let's say I wanted to add that to all of them. Well, they're saying, well, what we'll do is we'll charge you one TAM cost, and it might cover 3 boxes. They haven't started that yet, but anyway. And then we see the unlimited license there in the middle. For whatever reason, yours is cheaper than mine, right? And on my P10. So it's kind of weird how that's like that. There's your immediate cost for 417. There's your subscription term for one P10 license, 24,000. That looks right for 3 years. There's your one of your BRMS costs, but there'll be another BRMS cost up at the top, so there'll be 2 components to it. Should be like 70 something bucks or something like that. Let's see. Okay, see that one right there, that 368 cost? That's for Power VM Media. So if you wanted to get rid of that, you'd go into Software, Power VM, and then click on Preferences, then click on Delivery, and then you would go in and you would change it from DVD or CD into electronic delivery to get rid of the cost. There's another part of your subscription cost conversion. That's the 24/7. So your subscription here consists of the initial subscription for 24,000, then the added uplift to 24/7 for 2225, and then your BRMS consists of the core cost of that 1,200 or whatever it was below, plus this $45 or whatever it is. It's not coming in clear, but whatever that is. So that's your subscription cost.
Okay.
Yeah, this is everything you need. So this is your first system. So now I would leave this up, and I would open up another econfig window, and I would create the other one. Now keep in mind that this has a timeout value for this, how long this window will be open. I would just set a mental note every 15 minutes, come over here and just hit the save button. All you need to do is have some activity in here, but just hit the save button and that'll help it keep up, because you want it to be there. So if you need to click on it or something like that, otherwise what'll happen is it'll force you to have to end the session and then open it back up, and it's just time, and you're sitting here thinking about the 5 other things you got to do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna watch your video and try to do the other one from home, I think. So
Okay. And whenever you want to, talk about some of the other accounts or something, just let me
yeah,
know.
this will be helpful because that's what I got to do is just keep trying to run through these and get good at doing these steps.
Okay, buddy. Well, there you go. Let me know what questions you have. And I'll
It'd
send
be, and it
I'll
would
send
be
you a recording.
interesting too to look at, once we got both of these up, look at the cost and then look at like what's it look like off the Power VS.
Yeah, 100%.
Compare these two. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then see if there's a deal reg for this customer.
Well, I'm wide open tomorrow, so feel free if you want to hit me up for another hour session sometime.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Okay. I'll see you.
All right. Bye.